I'm not there fighting for my kids. My kids will be okay. I'm there fighting for all the students that their parents are like my parents were, where they're busy working, struggling. I would like to say that it's been worth it, but I don't know.
I would be lying if I said that I have not considered resigning.
Last week's Round Rock ISD board meeting turned disruptive.
The board is on the verge of censuring their two conservative trustees.
Both trustees walked out of last week's board.
You can't make up laws or policy.
I will be voting no.
So my parents got pregnant in high school with my brother and really struggled when I was growing up. But education was my way out. I have a PhD in engineering, and that's allowed me to work with NASA and the Department of Defense. I do believe education is the most powerful tool to pull people out of poverty. You can go back to where I grew up and you'll see I've had friends that have been murdered. I have friends that are in jails that have died of overdoses. And a lot of this is just, the opportunities that they didn't have because of education. My husband and I have 2 girls, and I initially ran for school board because my youngest daughter has a learning disability. And I wanted to advocate for opportunities for her.
I met my husband when we were both on active duty in the Air Force. We have 5 children that we love more than anything, and we believe that education is what changed our lives for the better. For the almost 50 years that I have been alive, I've led a life of service, a life of honor, a life that I've been very proud of.
So Danielle and I were elected to the school board in 2020. And we quickly realized we were not going to be popular with the other members of the board. They were doing things behind the scenes, out of the view of the public, and one of the things that we ran on was transparency. I personally was contacted by another educator who claimed to have been assaulted by our superintendent. And when I contacted the board president and the board secretary at the time, neither one of them took the allegations seriously. So Danielle and I went public to acknowledge to the community what was going on. That was the first of many. It obviously got into the masking issues.
Tonight, members are once again discussing mask requirements.
If we want to start a mask battle, we can start it tonight.
Everyone needs to be very careful giving up their liberties for this false sense of security that wearing these ineffective cloth masks provides.
I am very frustrated and disappointed in the trade-offs with regard to the things that we spend money on and the results that we're getting for our children. Every year, this school district gets $500 million to educate children. So much money, in my view, is spent on things that are not directly related to meeting the educational needs and providing a bright future for all children.
We're taking students that already are reading on grade level and we're pouring into those students versus pouring into students that are not reading on grade level.
Teachers express concern about this to me, parents express concern about this to me. I believe that all of this money should go towards meeting the educational needs of children. Only 40% of our economically disadvantaged 3rd graders can read on grade level. Only 34% of our Hispanic 3rd graders can do math on grade level. And only 25% of African American 4th graders can do math on or above grade level. These are real concerns, and yet on my local school board, there's just not support to address these things.
And because we disagreed with the majority of the board, we face consequences.
Round Rock ISD board members will talk about and potentially take action on censure resolutions for 2 trustees. Place 2 and Place 7 trustees, Mary Bone and Danielle Weston, face censure.
9 times in the last 16 months, they have placed some sort of censure, sanction, reprimand on school board agendas against Dr. Mary Bone and I. And this effort costs our school district a lot of money. The controversial issues that make news around the country are also happening here in Round Rock ISD. Very concerning books in the library, critical race theory, and there have been times that because of the volatility of these issues that I've had to take safety precautions for myself and my family.
We've lost friends. I've gotten threatening text messages, threatened my job. I have been afraid to go out of my house. The text messages are very scary, and I can tell you my husband finds them very worrisome. We had a high-level TEA commissioner actually tell us that they had seen this across the state.
And it's not just us. Anybody in our community, whether you're a parent, a taxpayer, a teacher, a staff member, anybody who expresses concern or questions what they're doing, becomes a target.
There was one father that came to a board meeting and during his public speaking time was removed from the boardroom for speaking about a topic that the board president didn't seem to want to hear. And then at another board meeting, another father was removed from the boardroom, and later they were both arrested at their homes. I sat in front of the courthouse all night waiting for the two dads to be let out. I sat there with one of their wives, and then I saw the way that them being arrested impacted their lives. I saw what they lost. I saw one dad, have to move out of the state. I can't believe that we've gotten to this point, that this is what we do to people in our community when they're just trying to make education better and focus on students.
The reason that I ran for my local school board is because that's what they say to do. They say that if you're concerned, if you're frustrated, stop complaining and you should do something. And that's what I did. I stepped forward, I ran for office, I won, I was passionate, I was excited to start doing great things for kids. The pressure on you and the harassment that we have experienced is tremendous. And I'm not sure how rank and file moms and dads, how it's fair to expect them to enter into these very difficult environments and be successful. The legislators need to understand that there is a coordinated effort that we can see locally and at the state level to fundamentally change the role and purpose of our public schools. And it has pivoted from focusing on our students and meeting their educational needs to a political ideology that is adversarial to the traditions here in Texas.
If we want to save our public schools, they need a wake-up call. There's a reason why reasonable people can't make their voice heard. There's a reason why parents are powerless to change things. They need choice. Parents need to be empowered with choice and control of their children's education. Otherwise, everything we do, all the complaints we have, it's all toothless. We need less power for school boards, more power for parents. I think it'll actually expose how critical our public schools really are for our society and for our future.
What is the purpose of public education but for to educate children?
I do have hope. I have hope that these things will happen, that people will stay in the fight, because I do see that lots of parents kind of throw their hands up and walk away, and I don't think we can do that. I think we have to stay in this. This is for our children and our grandchildren.